Hey everyone, happy Monday. I hope you guys had a great weekend and have had a good start to the week. Um, I had a not super busy, but um, family filled weekend, so it was good. But I hope you guys are doing well. Um, and we're going to talk about something tonight that I haven't talked a ton about in the group, but I think is really important because a lot of people struggle with this, and I think it plays a really big part in learning to find self love. So, we're going to talk about perfectionism. But first, I want to talk about what perfectionism is. So this definition is from the Center for Clinical Intervention, and there's three parts to this definition of what perfectionism is. So, perfectionism, first of all, is the relentless striving for extreme standards that are personally demanding. It's also judging your self worth based largely on your ability to strive for and achieve such unrelenting standards. And then the third part is experiencing negative consequences of setting such demanding standards, yet continuing to go for them despite the huge cost. So that's a lot all in one, but basically perfectionism is setting really high standards for yourself and basing your self-worth on your ability to meet those standards, and the consequences that come out of not making or making those standards. Let me know in the comments if that makes sense. If you need more clarification on what perfectionism is, let me know. I'd be happy to explain it more. So one more thing about perfectionism before I get into the steps to overcoming perfectionism is that I think this is something important to consider is that there is healthy perfectionism and unhealthy perfectionism. So, what is the difference? So healthy perfectionism, this is pursuing excellence or, pursuing a goal, um, and doing your best, but in the end, your best is enough. So you're challenging yourself and you're putting in an effort to do your best. But if you don't meet that goal, um, you don't fail, basically. With unhealthy perfectionism, you continue to set higher and higher standards and never feel like you did enough. You never feel like you're enough. Um, Also, with unhealthy perfectionism, you are really relentlessly pursuing those standards, regardless of the ramifications or the consequences on you, and ultimately feeling like you fail if you don't achieve your goal or standard. So that's kind of the difference between healthy and unhealthy. I think there's a balance to be made with perfectionism. It's good to pursue goals and, do your best, at making an effort, but to a certain extent to your well being, right? Okay, so let's talk about these three things that you need to overcome in order to overcome this unhealthy perfectionism. The first thing is accept failure. And that is easier, much easier said than done. Um, Accepting failure can be really hard, but when you flip your mindset to failure is not bad, failure teaches us and helps us grow. It changes your mindset to I can't fail, or from I can't fail to we need failure. Have you ever thought about the fact that we need failure to grow? If we go through life not growing, what are we doing? Um, we need growth, and we need to continue to learn no matter what we're doing, and so we need failure. Um, and that can be a really hard concept for a lot of people, I think, to um, accept, because failure is not fun and it doesn't feel good. But when you kind of flip the mindset to failure can be good, um, that's when the growth happens. Number two. So, number two is stop avoiding. So a lot of people avoid certain behaviors, places, or whatever it may be due to fear of failure or fear of not being good enough, basically a fear of not being perfect. So to overcome perfectionism, we have to just do, no matter the result, but we have to try, and pursue things even if you're afraid of failure or not doing it well enough. Um, Number three is stop perfectionism behaviors. So, um, these are what perfectionism behaviors are. So, excessive list making. Don't get me wrong, I love making lists, and lists are good, but it's excessively making lists where, it's controlling and, setting those higher and higher standards. That's when it becomes perfectionistic. Um, Excessive checking, so checking your work or whatever it may be 5, 10 times, that would be a perfectionism behavior. Excessive organizing and also correcting others. So these behaviors serve in taking control and making sure that everything is perfect. So I want to give you guys a couple more ways to help you in overcoming these and other perfectionistic behaviors. Um, this takes time. So, my first tip is just take it step by step. Take it one step at a time, and take small steps, because overcoming these behaviors and these thoughts, I know I didn't talk a lot about perfectionism thoughts, but that is a big part of this too. So, overcoming those thoughts and behaviors is done just one small step at a time. And then choose who, what, where, when, how long you will perform that behavior for, and gradually increase or decrease the intensity depending on, moving away from the perfectionism. So let me give you an example. If I want to decrease my fear of failure, I would start by telling myself, failure is good, even if I don't believe it. So at first, I feel like failure is terrible, like I can't fail or bad things will happen. So I start telling myself that failure is good. Next, I would allow myself to fail just a little bit and tell myself failure is good. Gradually, I would get used to failing and be able to accept it and turn that mindset from failure is bad to failure is good, and it's helping me grow. Another thing that kind of goes along with that is affirmations. So saying or thinking positive statements to help encourage you in overcoming those perfectionism thoughts. If you struggle with, especially with perfectionism thoughts, I've created a worksheet with a list of affirmations to be able to overcome these perfectionism thoughts. So drop me a comment if you want that worksheet, and I will send it your way. I also wanted to mention that I do talk more about this in my course. My course is It has six modules, and perfectionism is one of them because I think it's a big part of learning to love yourself and finding that self-love in your life. So if you're interested in in more in depth with the perfectionism, I can't speak right now. um, if you would like to grow more in this area, my course is the way to go. It'll definitely help you with all aspects of self love. So if you would like more info on that, I'd love to chat about it. You can book a free call with me and we can talk about how I can help you moving forward. So I hope this was helpful. I really just covered the basics of perfectionism. So if you have questions, reach out. Um, it's it's a big topic and it can be hard to overcome, but I know you guys can do it. So, like I said, if you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, I will talk to you soon.